So a new study finds that replacing just a small amount of protein from animal products with proteins from grains, vegetables, or other plants reduces the risk of death. That's regardless of any other unhealthy lifestyle choice. Dr. Siegel, do you agree?
Yes, I agree with this study. This is a really interesting study also. They looked at 131,000 people over 25 years, and they found that if you change the amount of protein you're getting from plants over to from animals over to plants just by 3%, that it decreases your risk of death by 10%. And if it's processed meats we're talking about here, Arthel, like hot dogs or corned beef or bacon, we're talking 35% decrease. Just by decreasing it by 3%, you're 35% less likely to die over 25 years. You know why this is true?
Tell us.
Well, we already knew last year, and we announced it on this show, that processed meats, and we're talking red meat that are processed, again, hot dogs, corned beef, pastrami, all of this stuff increases your risk of cancer dramatically. We talked about that last year. Risk of cancer and risk of heart disease goes way up with processed meats. And you know what group is most at risk? The group that doesn't do much of anything else. They lie on the couch. They're obese. They smoke. They drink too much alcohol. So I'm imploring you out there, if you're not going to get off the couch and you're not going to get on the elliptical or the bike like we're saying, and you're not going to totally change your diet and you're not going to stop smoking and stop drinking, at least switch over to more avocados, to more nuts, to more seeds, to more leafy vegetables, and cut down on the amount of bacon cheeseburgers you're eating.
So I have a question, because I don't know about the protein from vegetables. What kind of protein, what vegetables gives me protein?
Well, you're talking about legumes, you're talking about
spinach
nuts, you're talking
kale.
about, all kind of, that's right.
Okay.
So, look, I think this is a big public health issue. People need to seriously consider this. We all love our hot dogs. We all love watching football. We all love eating our processed food, bacon, and everything else that comes with it. But America needs to really pay attention to this, because last year, World Health Organization, for the first time, and this is a serious topic, they looked at about 800 studies. 22 world experts from 20 different countries got together, looked at everything across the board. It's never going to get any better than this, that processed food and red meat can actually cause, not associated, but can cause cancer. Whether it's increasing inflammation, increased coronary artery disease, and other health, we're talking about cancer. And what they found was that if you take about 5 grams of this kind of food, meaning like if you take 4 strips of bacon and 1 hot dog, that can increase the risk of colon cancer by 18%, risk of pancreatic cancer, prostate cancer. So you don't need to know anything anymore. Now, based on this study, what we're saying is, don't get rid of it. If I'm always against, like, of course, if you can get rid of it, it's great. But even if you add 3% of your diet with this kind of plant that Arthel just talked about, you can actually reduce the risk of mortality, death, by 10%, and cardiovascular disease by 12%.
So basically,
that's significant.
Swap out a hot dog for
We're talking
spinach.
3% here, right? If you literally change 1 hot dog,
add fruits and vegetables to your diet,
to some spinach or some avocado or a tomato, which we love because it also decreases risk of prostate cancer. Just change your hot dog to 1 tomato, and you're going to live long.
By the way, this has nothing to do with exercise, because they basically took smoking, alcohol, and all the lack of exercise in this particular study. Right. If you happen to be doing that, God bless you. Then you're going to be super healthy.
It's like turkey. Is turkey part of this?
It's better.
Turkey's better.
Yeah. That's a neutral one. Okay. So the poultry is neutral. The worst ones are red meat and processed
But you're
food.
not saying don't have any steak. Ever.
No. I think that protein is absolutely healthy for you, but moderation, reduce the amount, and always, it's funny, once you get used to eating the other beans and legumes and everything else, you don't even want to have this. So just try it for a couple of weeks.
Try a good veggie burger. 1 veggie burger.
All right, some baked beans?
Yeah, baked beans have a lot of fiber in them, but then stay away from people.
Okay.